Justice Dale, we got you.
We got you. Justice Dale. Thank you so much.
Amen.
Meet Dale Graham, father, son, lawyer, and civil rights activist. On October 28, 2008, he was gunned down by a Baltimore City police officer during a domestic dispute call. And though mistakes were made, the officer did not have the right to determine that it should cost him his life. We stand with Miss Darlene Cain in her quest for justice for her son, and we watch as she tells her story about his life and his accomplishments.
October the 29th, 2008. I took his daughter to school, and when I came back, there were detectives on my front porch. And I was trying to figure why I had detectives outside of my home, because I thought maybe, somebody went to jail, somebody got locked up. I had no idea. And that's when they showed me his ID and asked me who was Dale Graham to me. And I said, my son. And they were able to tell me that, well, you just ID'd him. So I'm thinking like, okay, like what jail is he in? What happened? What's going on? And they were telling me that he was at the morgue. And they were telling me that I could pick him up that afternoon. And so I said, well, the morgue, like, when did he die? What happened to him? They told me he was in a fight. Then they said he was in a shooting. So I was so confused because I'm like, well, which one is it? So didn't know that he died the night before. So I didn't get the news to the next day. And once I got the news, I walked to I was in a car with a neighbor. And then he took me to another neighbor's house. And I just about collapsed in her arms saying, you got to help me. They just killed Dale. And they were like, who? I said, the police. And I was locked outside the house. So I had to go somewhere to like another neighbor's house to get help. And then finally I got in the house to let my sister know. And she like fell to her knees. And I was like saying like, I'm not going to pick him up in 4 hours. That's what they asking me to do. So Dale worked for the NAACP, and he was an intern for Kwesi and Fume. And I felt that I had a lot of people to notify. I needed help on somebody telling me that I don't have to pick my son up today. I'm going to find another way to do this. And because he believed in voting, and that's what he was doing, and he would have been at the inauguration for Obama, I said, I'm going to find a way to keep him at the morgue. People can go vote. Then we can have a viewing. And then after that, we can have his funeral. I thought that was the right way to honor Dale, because he did all that for people to get out the vote. He was in law school. He had 2 children. They were 3 and 6 at the time. And I felt that he deserved more than for me to rush and have a funeral for him. And then also, by me not having any information, that was, like, I'm just going to bury my son and go by the police report. And even though it was a domestic violence dispute, I felt like something was being covered up because I was being rushed. And had not someone from his alumni called me from the news station saying, I knew Dale, we went to school together, can we do an interview with you? I was able to do a press conference to be able to let the world know that I'm not picking his body up today. I'm keeping him in the morgue on ice until I get more information, because I knew that people can stay in the morgue for a long period of time. So what would be different now?
So kind of what happened now is really interesting, kind of like what happened after that. So did you ever get that information that you were waiting on?
So what happened is it was a fight between him and his children's mom. They weren't living together at the time. To my knowledge, they weren't even dating. So I was the person who was the mediator, where you drop the children off to me and I can take the kids to him to see. But there was so much information I found out after he passed away. You always find out a little bit more afterwards. And so I never found out what the argument was, why they was fighting, because their mother chose not to tell the story. I can't make her. As I filed for my civil case and to go to court, she did not want to participate on her behalf or family members or anyone that knew about the fight. So what happened is I had to start relying on God. I had to learn the spirit of forgiveness. I had to learn how to forgive the officer, forgive their mother for not wanting to tell me the story. So I can't make her tell me, but I know that there's a lot of flaws in the story, because I never made it to court. They justified my son's case. I filled the papers out to not only for the that, I even filled it out for when Maryland compensates you for a person who died in the city through violence, and
Mm,
I got denied for that too. So I was just
mm,
getting denied, and I said, but you know what? I'm going to have to become his lawyer. I'm going to be the one to do the research. I'm going to go places. I'm going to fight for laws and legislations. I'm going to get it done. That's the first thing
mm,
that came to my mind. So I met people. I started marching. I went and
mm,
got business cards made up, Mothers on the Move. I didn't know what I was going to do with Mothers on the Move. I had no idea. All I knew was that I was going to do something. So I made up this name, Mothers on the Move. And I
mm,
didn't know later on I was going to become a nonprofit. We have to realize that what we're doing today and what we did yesterday is not a moment, it's a movement.
mm.
So with the
Mhm.
movement, you're going to have every nationality and every religion to help you because we're all going through this. This is not just a black and brown matter. This is a matter of all lives.
Yes, do you think that the reason that like you were so willing to kind of do movements and legislation, all that, was that inspired by Dale and kind of what he was doing in voting and kind of the government?
That's a good question because that's what people started telling me. They said, and my family member started saying, like, you remind me of Dale because this is
Dale.
some stuff that Dale was doing. And
Mhm,
then I went to rope victim assistant training for 5 days, and so
mhm,
I've been certified in a whole bunch of trauma training all summer, all during the fall. I'm still taking classes, and that's his alumni, University of Baltimore. So
mhm,
now I'm alumni of his school, not knowing in a million years that I would be in a program that involved the law school that he went to. And I'm just trying to find ways that I can help others, not just myself. And we can learn more because I realized that you cannot be in this movement without educating yourself.
mhm,
It's not just about you. My story is not the only story out here. So I can't help another mother with just what happened to Dale. I can help another mother about legislations, what we can do to get together to help each other. I can tell her these books we can read on. I can tell another mother or father or family member how I went out here and got this trauma training. And with the trauma training, I found out about myself. I
mhm.
found out about my family. I found out about people I met along the way. And so now I'm in a better position to help people because I'm going through the healing.
So I guess with that kind of training, what advice do you give to people when they're grieving a loved one due to gun violence?
So with that type of training, I would tell people that first you have to go through your healing process for you. Whatever it is no right or wrong answer about how to cry, how to be upset. But also when you get to that point that you're ready to forgive, it will help you with the toxic. It will stop you from being sick, high blood pressure, stroke, heart attack. For 12 years, on the 28th, I haven't been hospitalized. I haven't been sick. I haven't been on any medication. So I started my book called I Made It Through because I didn't realize that what I was going through was miraculous because many of the mothers I know are on medication, do have high blood pressure, still go through a whole lot of anxiety. And like I tell people, I don't want nobody to think I don't cry. I can now have a little bit of happy tears of remembering silly things that he did, remembering things that he used to say to me. Um, I try not to over traumatize myself about his death, how many bullets, how many times he got shot, um, and things like that. So, like on the 28th, I will be celebrating his life,
Mm,
celebrating that he was loved and just doing something positive. I've been doing it now for a while, doing positive things in his memory because if we continue to talk about just only the death and how he died and how many bullets shot him and who killed him, we re-traumatize ourselves. We stay in that moment and we freeze.
mm,
And I don't want to be frozen. I want to still be able to move. I want to still be able to do things. So I created DK Health and Wellness. DK Health and Wellness, I created that in the summertime is doing motivational speaking while I'm walking so I can help and inspire others as God has inspired me. Because I tell
mm,
people like the movement I'm in, it's not even me.
mhm,
It's not even me. It's so spiritual.
mm.
and I get a whole bunch of my strength from other people, you know, and so that's how I'm able to be able to do it. Like I tell people, I said, look, you can get a legislation in your child's name. You could do whatever you want in your child's memory. You can have a foundation. You can have an organization. You could go feed the homeless once a year. You could do anything you put your mind onto for the love of your loved
Do
ones.
you think that Dale kind of deserves justice? And if so, what would be justice for you in that sense, or for Dale?
I feel Dale deserves justice. He has two daughters. Now one to be 19 in a few weeks. The other one is 15 going on 16. And I feel it will put all our minds and hearts to rest that he was not forgotten. We can get laws changed if we can't get the officer sentenced.
Mm,
Because I know we try so hard to get the officer sentenced, but because of the way how society has been made, it's so hard to get an officer locked up. It's so very
yeah,
hard.
it's very
So
hard.
we can keep on fighting for laws, but in the meantime, Dale name was in a bill, and it got
Mm,
signed a couple weeks ago. Dale, Tyrone West,
mm.
Corinne Gaines, and another person, and they signed the bill so we can have a memorial wall. So I feel as though I'm gaining not just justice, but I feel like I'm making movements in his
Mm.
name.
Last time we talked about the bill that was in Dale's name, and kind of how you were pushing that, and I know it just recently got vetoed. So like, what was your reaction to that, and kind of how did you kind of keep moving forward?
Well, you know, believe it or not, those type of things make me keep fighting. Like every time a door closes and every time somebody say no, I always say it's something bigger and greater ahead. And I feel like nothing goes in vain that I do. There's never no time wasted. So it just gives me, you know, to build up and create another idea. Like that's what I'm doing now. You know, I'm coming up with something else. I said, okay, so you say no to that and you think that you shut that down. Well, I'm going to come back, you know, even more powerful than I was last time that you saw me. I'm going to do something that you're not even going to expect. What I pray to push is a lot of people is affected by this. Just like a lot of people didn't know or don't talk about after the death of a lot of the children, a lot of the mothers are practically homeless because they take every dime that they spend to put on a funeral and a GoFundMe or whatever. You know, we mothers, we take everything. Like we'll sell the table and the chair or whatever it is that we got to do to get it done to pay a bill. And I think a lot of people don't know, like, I was in contact with the last year or two with so many mothers who was losing everything they had and living with friends and families and place to place. And then when you live with these people, you know, you're not treated with the dignity that you feel you deserve. Like you're in a vulnerable situation and people know that you need them and they treat you just like you need them. So they don't know like what a lot of people go through.
We talked a little bit about the moms organization, or kind of Mothers on the Move, which is pretty interesting. Can you talk about some key highlights, or like what were some, like when you think about Mothers on the Move, what were some memorable moments or memorable things that happened um, due to the organization that you cherish?
I've been able to partner with different organizations for gun laws. I've been able to go to Annapolis for the red flag laws for domestic abusers to put their guns away. So we had made accomplishments with that. Then with Mothers on the Move, I'm part of 34 organization in Baltimore City, who we were just put in the front page of the paper about a week ago,
Oh, that's great.
saying that we the grassroots organizations doing a lot of the work. We have been
Mm,
able to get for the officers, instead of having 10 days to tell the story of what happened on the incident, we got it down to 5. We were
mm,
able to go testify for the cameras that the officers wear. And
mm,
even though they got the camera and they show the footage of what the officers doing, we don't always get the results that we want for us justification or accountability for the officer. But there has been many milestones that we have made, and with Mothers on the Move as well, getting the bill put in for the wall, for the memorial wall, for our loved ones,
mm,
with other people. So it's been an amazing journey because I never see myself doing none of this
mm,
besides maybe having an organization, having events. But
mm.
it's not about events all the time. You can still have events and create events. And I know it's COVID-19, so we all got to be careful.
Yeah.
So right now, it's about how we can help save lives, how we can prevent it to happen to the next person. That's the
Yeah.
really big deal for me. That's the major thing that I want to accomplish out of all of this that Mothers on the Move is doing.
If Dale was alive today, what do you think his life would look like?
Oh, if Dale was alive today, he would have been an aspiring lawyer
Mm,
because he always wanted to be a lawyer since he was 8. He knew at 8 years old what he wanted to do. So he went to 3 colleges, and the
mm,
last college was University of Baltimore, where he
mm,
was going where he was going to school for law, and he
mm,
was a clerk as well.
mm,
So Dale will be out here right now making sure everybody vote like he used to do before my mother passed away.
mm,
Every year he faithfully came and got my mom to vote, took her to the voting polls. He went to people's houses. He was like a door to door person. He was very proud to be a voter and very proud to help. Um, he did the prison project book from the
mm,
NAACP. He helped publish it. He went state to state helping felons so they can vote. So today
mm,
I was here today. He will be out here on the corners talking to the guys saying, "Hey, y'all going to vote? Take your grandmother to vote. Take your mother to vote." Because
mm,
that's what I did. I'm
mm.
out here talking to them, and I'm in their faces. I'm not worrying about if you smoking a cigarette or you smoking whatever. I'm just out there
Right.
saying, "Hi, how you doing, y'all? Y'all going to vote today?" And
Mm-hmm.
they would have made sure that they had their registration and got signed up. He would have did all of that because that's the kind of person that Dale was, and
Mm,
he would have been a good father because he loved his 2 girls, and he would have been at Iona's graduation. She now attends Temple University online, and
mm.
he would have continued the education because he was just a big person on education, which is his legacy. He would have been continued that legacy of education. He went to 3 colleges, so he loved school. He loved reading. He was an advocate reader, so that's what he'll be doing today.
So you talked a little bit about kind of Dale's book that he wrote for the NAACP, and you kind of mentioned earlier about you wrote a book. Can you talk about your writing process and what that book's about, and how did it come to be?
So I started everything during the Corona-19 because
Mm,
everybody had to stay in the house. Nobody could go nowhere. So I
right.
always do journal writing regardless. So I took
Mm,
it to another level and I said, let me
mm,
write a book. And I
mm,
titled the book, I Made It Through. And I wanted
mm,
people to know my process of how I got to be where I'm at today. And I'm still processing. It hasn't
mm,
stopped. And
right.
and then I went through this storm before I could publish the book. And I want people to know, my real life journey. Like, this is real. Like, even though I got over this hurdle, a different hurdle came again. And this is what I
Mm,
had to do again to go over this hurdle with the power of prayer and your faith and your belief. And then
mm,
they also wrote a book that I'm hoping to get the rights to. And so hopefully by
mm.
2021, I'll be able to have the rights to his book. And the one that he published for NAACP. I'm very proud that my son could go state to state to help felons to get back their voters card. I'm extremely proud of that.
So with that book that Dale wrote, it kind of talks about his journey as of going to different states to states, kind of talking to different people, or is it more of a policy
It's a
like
resource guide.
mm, got you. That's really
The one for the
interesting.
NAACP is a resource guide. The other book that he wrote is a
Mm,
pretty good book, and
got
not
you.
just because not because I'm his mother, but
Right.
I read it and I didn't know he could write like that. I need to, I need to, I need to hurry and publish my book so I can publish his.
Right, definitely. So I guess going through the book, you said you're still going through the processing of the entire experience, and that's a lifelong thing for sure. So how has the book helped you, or how has writing the book helped you process what has happened in a deeper way?
Um, Writing for me is like a healing because I do journal
Mm,
writing also.
mm,
So it's like instead of me wanting to be frustrated, mad, or being on the phone all day talking about my problems, I can just put
right.
it on with a pen and a paper and
Mm,
go through it like that. and that's very soothing. I mean, and it really helps a lot. And I want to encourage people, to write. And I want to encourage people to write a book, write their story,
Mm.
tell their story.
What is one thing that you want people to take away from your story, or from Dale's story, or from both?
If no one can take anything else away from me and Dale's story, is forgiveness. If
Mm,
you can learn to forgive, you can learn to be healthier,
mm,
and you can also be able to function properly. I'm not a person who goes to counseling. I believe in it if that's what you want to do. But
mm-hmm.
there's so many things that we could do for free with helping ourselves.
Yeah.
So I will recommend to people to take a lot of the free steps that they can for us walking,
Mm,
eating healthier, reading more on whatever they want to read about,
mm,
and learning how to forgive, and also continue to love yourself. Just
mm,
continue to love on. My slogan on Facebook is "Love Wins." So if
mm.
you continue to love on yourself, love on whatever your faith is, and learn to love people, it will really help you so much in your journey.
Final kind of closing thoughts. Is there anything else that you think that through this video we should make sure that we highlight or point out about Dale's story and your story?
Dale was the kind of person that he could come in the room and light up a whole room. Everything
Mm,
just changes from him coming in the room. And he always try to make a party out of everything. Don't tell nobody it's your birthday, because Dale's going to find a way that we're going to have a party today. And nobody has any money, but it's going to
right.
be a party.
Mm,
And he will he will say, that's okay, that's okay. We all can put together. We before you know it, we're in the living room at my mother's house or somewhere, and it's a party, an unplanned party that Dale
mm,
came up with, and he would call everybody, and people would just show up. And I would
mm,
be like, this is crazy. Like, all of a sudden we're having a party, and then he would assign people to, well, can you get a cake? And then he would
mm.
call somebody else, bring some chips. And I'm sitting here, I said, well, what does he donate? Because he got all these people coming. And,
Right.
I'm like, he got it going on. And before
Mm,
you know it, we will be like having this wonderful time in the
mm,
living room or wherever we at. And these parties will actually take effect because of
mm,
Dale. And then every year with my birthday, I will miss him dearly, because he will bring me a cake every year, and he wants to get the first person to cut my cake. And I used to always say, well, I don't want to cut my cake right now. I just got the
mm.
cake. Why do I have to wake up and cut the cake?
Right.
So he's one of them kind of people. Christmas, you got to open your gift right now, because he just handed it to you, and you saying,
Mm,
well, okay, Dale, let me get the gift. Mom, you got to open the gift. You're going to open your gift. It's just the things that Dale used to do to bring people together.
mm,
And what I want everybody to learn from me is, don't allow what happened to you knock you down. Get back up.
mm,
Because after I lost all the weight that I did, skin and bones, crying every day, feeling helpless, feeling like it was nothing I could do, um, it is so much we can do. Stand up, let your voice be heard, continue to speak out, continue to ask for whatever it is. But if we don't ask for it, we don't talk about it, won't nobody know. Do what makes you feel good and love in
mm,
reference to your loved one, so that makes you feel good. Don't please other people. Do what pleases you. And also, I would tell people, we don't have to make up stories on our children, but we know who our children are, so we don't have to fabricate. I tell other mothers, like, if their children had committed a crime and people be feeling like, well, that's why he died. I said, no, you can still tell people your child was loved. You can still tell people, I didn't tell him to do the crime, but, and I didn't think he should have died because he did a crime. Because, like, my son's, his case was about domestic violence. We have so many men not only in jail for domestic violence, but we have so many men who are in and out of jail for it. But there's resources, there's so much more help out here now than it was yesterday. And
mm,
I feel as though that he could have had an opportunity, just as well as these people who are walking around free today, to have gotten help as well. Because domestic violence is not just with women, it's with men too. So it's
mm.
always a two-sided story with everything that goes on, because it's also mental and physical abuse that people don't address. We
Mm.
look at the fist flying and the objects flying, but we don't know that a lot of words hurt people.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I kind of pick up when I was reading your story and kind of like reading Dale's story is that like Dale went through law school and all these things. Like, he had a lot of stuff to brag about. If he really wanted to, he could just go out and be bragging. But it seemed like what really made him proud was the effect that he had on other people, and kind of making them happy through kind of maybe like their birthday, like you said, or like Christmas and things like that. That's what really brought him pride. You know what I mean? And I see that also kind of in you, and how I guess that's what you taught him, is that idea of it's not about what you do, it's about who you help, right? And who you make a better person, for sure.
I believe in holidays and I love holidays, but the way I raised my children was, we celebrated every day. We didn't wait for one day and one moment to do nothing. Make every day your best and make every day
Mm.
your fullest and get all you can out of each day.